Welcome back to another edition of the Great Big Sports Show. We're Rainjack Sports. I'm Randy Meadows.
Jackie Haswell.
And another crazy week in college football. And it was kind of crazy in the NFL, too.
Randy, you ain't going to thank the people for tuning in?
You got to get, man, I'm just introducing. You got to give me a second, you know?
Well, man.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
All right, Randy smacks me, man. It's all good. So
Jackie is jacked up tonight, apparently on something.
Mountain Dew, baby.
Who does my hair?
Who does your hair?
I'm talking about you.
Oh, well, that's all good. But thank y'all for joining us tonight. But Randy, finish up what you were saying. I'm sorry. I'm so rude to interrupt you, man. I'm a horse's ass. That's probably why my wife left me.
I don't chew my cabbage twice, to quote an old friend's grandmother.
Okay. Well, that's a good saying.
I really don't remember where we were going with this, but anyways.
Let's talk about our record last weekend first.
Go ahead.
18-6 against the spread last weekend. That's 66%. So we had a lot of viewers get on the website last week, and we appreciate y'all getting on the website and looking at our picks, and hopefully you guys will come back and hopefully watch the podcast. So we're winning close to over 70% for the year. Last weekend was 66%, 18-6 against the spread. A lot of good games, and there's a couple games that come down to the wire. We kind of got shafted on at the very end. I don't know if you watched the Denver game.
Oh, I know.
That touchdown. Oh my God, that's just a bad beat, you know.
Yeah.
But then again, we had some good beats too. You know, Green Bay kicking a field goal with less than 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought we had it at 4.5, but it was 3.5, and we, oh man, because I was like confused, and then I got on and looked. And I said, "Oh, we did win that game. Good." So,
yeah. So we had a couple bad beats. I think we could have done better. Biggest play of the week last week was Missouri.
Yeah, we both were big on Missouri, and it just, I don't know what happened to Missouri, but
they disappointed me, Randy, a lot.
Me too, man. The Big East, Syracuse coming out of the Big East, man, they're not an SEC team. But you know what? I guess technically Missouri's not an SEC team yet either, because they're not. They're not even playing like the Big 12 team they were last year.
No, they've had a lot of injuries, and that was a big win the week before. They went to Tennessee and went into triple overtime and had to score 52 points to win. And maybe they couldn't get up for that game against Syracuse, but but still we went 18-6 against the spread, and that's still pretty damn good. So hopefully that trend will continue through the next weekend, and there's a lot more football. And we talked about earlier in the year, this might be the first year that in a long time that there's a team playing for the national championship that has one loss. So and it looks like there's only one team undefeated now after this weekend. So first time since 2007, I think it was, that the number 1 and number 2 team lost on the same weekend. I
think it was the first time in the BCS era.
It probably was the first time in the BCS era. So, but it was 2007, and it was funny because when we were watching the Stanford-Oregon game that night, and the other team already lost. Who was the other number 2 team? Kansas State. They were both going on at the same time, and one of them finished before the other. And I looked at my friend and I said, I wonder when the last time the number 1 and number 2 team lost. And it wasn't 5 minutes later they popped that stat up on the screen. It was 2007, and it was the 2 teams were Missouri and who was the other team? West Virginia. Missouri and West Virginia, number 1 and number 2 team lost on the same weekend in 2007. So kind of random trivia there for you guys. But there's still a lot of football left, Randy.
Man, man, it's just unreal at the different scenarios that could happen and take place and go down. And
yeah, we were talking about some really wacky ones on the way over here. But
well, let's go through the top 10 of the BCS right now. Speaking of wacky scenarios, at number 10 you got Florida State. They can mathematically win the title still. Texas A&M.
Yeah, Florida State has got Florida this weekend. Yeah. And they have the ACC championship, so they can get 2 more wins. And
and a quality win over Florida. I mean, that's a quality win. Could bump them up.
Who's number 4 in the BCS rankings?
Yeah, Florida's number 4. So, well, let's go through it, then we'll go back and talk through them all. Number 10 is Florida State. Number 9 is Texas A&M. 8, Stanford. And I didn't know Stanford was going to be that high up. I figured they'd be teetering right
I thought
there.
We were going to go through them and then talk about them.
Okay, Stanford 8, LSU 7.
You're the one that makes
Exhibit. We're through. LSU 7, K-State 6, Oregon 5, Florida 4, Georgia 3, Bama 2, and Notre Dame 1, undefeated, sitting at the top. So let's talk about scenarios that start at 10, like I said we were going to do. Florida State can get up to number 1. Whew, let me think if I got the brain for this today.
Y'all have to excuse Randy. He's a little under the weather.
I've been sick for a solid week now. So a win against Florida should push them up, maybe up to number 6.
Randy,
maybe
does Florida
5.
State have 2 losses?
They've got 1. It's to NC State.
So, and LSU's got 2 losses, and they're ahead of FSU.
Yeah, because of their schedule.
Yeah.
And they're like 17th, 18th, 16th, and 15th in the computer polls. And the computer's killing them. That's where their problem is. Yeah. And that's kind of Texas A&M's problem, too, why they can't move. They got 2 losses also.
Well, FSU has a chance to improve that by beating the number 4th ranked Gators this weekend. That'll move them way up there and then one loss. That probably move them all the way up to 4th. To be honest,
it may jump them up to 4 to beat to go ahead of Oregon. It's kind of shaky, but then Oregon can lose.
Yeah, Oregon doesn't have a cupcake game this weekend. They play Oregon State.
Right.
And I said last week that Stanford or Oregon. And if you read my write-up on the Stanford game, I picked Stanford in that game. Also had them on the money line, so put that in your pipe and smoke it. Boy, you talking about some damn profit margin on some money line parlays. Good God.
That line was 20, I believe.
Yeah, the money line was like plus 625. So, like, if you put it in a $5 parlay on the money line and took another team, like just regular, that $5 bet paid almost like $70-$80. So maybe $100. It was so. But yeah, Oregon, man, Stanford plays a really, we sat here on this show and talked about Stanford. They were gonna take a step back this year. Mm-hmm. But I've watched a lot of Stanford football this year, and I'm really impressed with.
They may have taken a step forward.
They might have.
I mean, you hate to say that about Luck and everything, but they were focused around Luck. Everything revolved around that guy. And he's good. No mistake about it. The guy's good. But that system, you don't have to have a great quarterback to win. They play great defense, have a good running game.
And they're physical.
And they're very,
I cannot
very physical.
believe that them bunch of white boy nerds are that physical. I mean, they are physical football players. So, and you know how I feel about physical. The physical teams usually win.
Just like Olivia Newton-John, you want to get physical.
Hey, you know what? This would be a great place for Donovan to hit the Q button. I'm not going to do it.
Please don't sing.
But back to Stanford and
yes.
Back to Stanford, Oregon. Oregon has a big game this weekend against Oregon State. That game is in Oregon State. I'm pretty sure it's a night game, and that rivalry is called the Civil War.
Yeah,
it's a big time rivalry, and us being out here on the East Coast, we don't put a lot of stock into it. That's right. We don't put a lot of stock into it, but damn, the Civil War, I mean, that's a pretty hateful term. I mean, so, and I think Oregon State, okay, Stanford had the number 1 rushing defense in the nation, better than Alabama. Okay, you know who has the 4th best rushing defense in the nation? Oregon State. So, and they're physical, and I thought Oregon State would be the team that beat Oregon just because they're better at throwing the football, Randy. And I figured if they got down to Oregon, they'd be able to come back. But Stanford definitely had a blueprint on how to take care of Oregon.
They did. Right there in the second half, man, Oregon looked like they were about to pull away. And then they just hung in there and came back, played solid defense.
I was scared to death because, man, Oregon, the other day, they scored 40 points in 8 minutes. I mean, it don't take them long to do their job. And
I took Oregon. I mean, and the reason why I took Oregon is, obviously they're either going to cover the spread or they're not, okay? And my rationale was if they're going to be this elite, just awesome team, they're going to have to get out there and just blow out Stanford to move up in the polls, to be number 1. They were going to have to get out there and just blow Stanford out. And if they were going to win, that's what they were going to do. And I wasn't going to bet against them. I couldn't. I just could not do it. Numbers wouldn't let me do it.
You know what, Randy? It goes back to this. The team with the best defense always wins.
Yeah.
And that number 1 defense, Stanford was only giving up 58 yards a game rushing, and Oregon's averaging 350 yards a game rushing. And, don't get it wrong, Oregon, Stanford gave up more than 58 yards, but Stanford kept them in check all game long. They had They had a really good defensive plan, and they finally played a team. And I hate to say it, but that's what would probably happen if Oregon played Alabama or LSU. So although Stanford's defense is number one, their schedule isn't the same. And I don't think Oregon can beat LSU or Alabama or Florida or Georgia.
Yeah.
So
after this weekend, I don't know that they could either.
So they're just not. I don't care how.
Stanford's more of an SEC style team. They're more of a ground and pound, and
physical football team.
Grind a little clock and whatnot. So
let's keep moving on up. Let's not talk about Texas A&M. I don't think they have a chance.
They don't. Stanford really doesn't either. But sitting number 7 is LSU, and they are mathematically in it.
We talked about, now this is a really crazy scenario. And this
crazy, but man, it's plausible. It could happen.
It is very possible.
Okay, so Notre Dame plays USC this weekend. USC beats Notre Dame. Then you have Alabama and Georgia both lose to Tech and to...
That's right, because this is rivalry weekend.
It's rivalry
and
weekend.
Auburn plays Alabama, and I promise you, this won't be the first time Auburn has ruined Alabama's season. And if they can get themselves up for this game, it could happen. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you know what? Man, this time of year, it gets crazy. So
I don't know that it'll happen either. I mean, Auburn's pretty bad this year, but there again, they play them on the field and not in our hearts, because if they did, everybody would suck but Georgia to me.
But all they have to do, Randy, but you know what? They're terrible, but it's hard to get up for a game. But if they get up for this game, I think they can compete with Alabama. They got the talent there. They're not as bad as their record is, but when you get down and get down and get down, it's hard to get back up. And I think the season's just slipped Auburn by. But you know what? It'd be a nice feather in their cap to just give Alabama a big old crap burger.
It might keep Gene Chizik around another year if they win. So, I mean, that's a lot to play for, too.
So Alabama loses to Auburn. Georgia loses to Georgia Tech. Florida loses to FSU.
Yep. So that would bump Oregon, technically, unless Oregon loses to Oregon State.
Texas beats Kansas State.
And then LSU bumps up to the number 1 team.
To play whoever is left. Or even if Notre Dame wins, let's say Notre Dame wins against USC and all that happens, then you'd have LSU and Notre Dame in the national championship.
Who do you think LSU squashes them?
Oh, my God.
You think so?
Randy, I would literally mortgage my house on it.
Really?
I swear to God.
I mean, they couldn't hardly beat Ole Miss Saturday.
It doesn't matter, dude.
Whatever. Did you watch the Les Miles press conference?
You told me about it. I didn't see it.
He's nuts. He's out there, man. Les hasn't been Les all year long. And then all of a sudden Saturday, man, those Les-isms were coming out, and he was just Les being Les, and it's what I think they've needed that long before Saturday. They needed that, about a month ago. But, he had some crazy stuff to say in his press conference. He was just kind of out there, dropped the F-bomb in there. And,
oh, really?
Yeah.
That's really unlike him.
He's been known to cuss a little bit. The F-bomb's pretty out. He did apologize for it, but anyways.
But that is a very, very, very far-fetched scenario. But you know what? Every year, college football gets crazier and crazier at this time of the year. So, but here's another scenario, and we talked about this being from Georgia. The Georgia-Florida rivalry to us is the biggest rival in sports, like Michigan, Ohio State. Everyone thinks that's big, and Oregon State thinks that's big. But to us, Georgia, Florida is it for us. And I have a hard time believing that anything could compare. So what happens if Georgia beats Alabama, Notre Dame loses to USC, Oregon and Kansas State both lose, and Florida moves up to number 2, and Georgia plays Florida for the national championship?
It would be the second largest cocktail party in the world. I believe that would be the largest cocktail party on.
And you know what? Oregon, Kansas State, and LSU, none of them have to lose, because Florida's sitting there pretty at 4, and win against FSU is going to move them up a little. Yeah. So, and last year, it's not unprecedented, because we already proved last year that 2 teams can play for the national championship from the same conference, because Alabama and LSU are in the SEC West, and Alabama didn't get a chance to play for the SEC championship, but they still got to play LSU in the national championship. Same scenario could unfold this year with Georgia playing Florida. So, man, that would be...
I posted an article on Twitter today that it came from SI, Sports Illustrated, that mentions and talks about the some of the SEC, they're out of conference games. Most of them are soft. Bama had Michigan, I guess. Michigan's an okay team. I mean, they're not crappy by any stretch. Georgia had a pretty soft schedule outside of the SEC. Florida had a pretty soft schedule outside of the SEC, but playing in the SEC says something. So all these teams are sitting here, and, these other teams are going out there and losing to other teams, and then the SEC is going to trip its way back into the title game.
Yeah.
And,
But the thing is you got so many powerhouses in the SEC. So.
Well, that's the thing, man. And that was my thing is, yeah, okay, they still had to go out there and play these games and win these games. So.
Yeah, I see you keep looking at the monitor down there and probably wondering who a Narrow TV 4325 is. I think that's my Uncle Roger. So I got
Raj. Okay.
I got him logged into the I got him logged in before I left to watch it live, and so he's watching us tonight. So I was telling him, well, that's another story about the cleaning lady. We'll save that for another day, the cleaning lady story. So
Uncle Raj, give her my number if you don't mind, please, sir. So, God, I hope my wife's not watching.
Oh boy, we'll save that story for another day.
Yeah, that's a different thing altogether. So we want to welcome Beckham 442 to the show.
Hey, Beckham. So back to the scenarios and how it's all playing out.
Let me ask you this: there's very few points between Georgia and Florida. Florida beats Florida State this weekend. Can they creep up and pass Georgia at number 4? At number 3, I mean?
Man, they could, Randy. I mean, the thing is it's kind of out of everybody's hands. That computer gets to crunching those numbers, and whatever number that computer comes up with is the number it comes up with. So you're sitting here looking at Georgia. They've got 8.763. And Florida's got 8.8434, and so there's not much of a difference there. So if that computer crunches those numbers just right, shoot, yeah, they can.
Let me ask you this: can Notre Dame beat any of these top 7 teams? Let's go top 7 teams.
They cannot beat Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Neither one. They cannot beat any of them.
Think they can beat Oregon, K-State?
I think they can give Oregon. Well, no, LSU too. Any team from the SEC. I mean, I'm biased.
Notre Dame doesn't beat them.
Notre Dame doesn't beat them. They don't beat them.
I don't know about that, man. That's kind of crazy because Notre Dame's not awful, man. That quarterback looks pretty good.
Notre Dame is doing something special, and I think they're here to stay. You better, if you don't like Notre Dame, you better get over it real quick because they're not leaving the top 5 for several years. And
they're fixing to go on another run like they did in the 90s with
they're building a powerhouse.
Lou Holtz. So he's
I love Lou Holtz, man. You don't like him?
Man. He's got some motivational speeches out there that are really good.
I love him to death, man, because he's the only person that gives Mark May hell. Like I don't like Mark May, and he puts Mark May in his place.
Who's the other guy that's on there with them? Mayday, Lou Holtz. He looks like Peter Brady from the Brady Bunch to me. I can't remember his daggum name for nothing.
I don't know.
He does Thursday. Reese Davis.
Yeah, Reese Davis is the host.
He looks like Peter Brady to me. I don't know if that's just me being.
Here's a story.
Yeah, every time he's on, I holler at my wife, "There's Peter Brady," and she's like, looks at me like I'm the idiot or something, and then there's domestic violence and whatnot. Yes.
Beckham says Holtz makes me throw up. So, hey, you know what? He gets on, but you know what? He gets on TV and he's talking from the X's and O's standpoint, and a lot of people they hear him lisping, and he's old and he's a decrepit old guy and whatnot. But man, the man makes a lot of sense with some of the stuff he says. So, and a lot of times, he's right on point. So,
well, he's as biased as we are. And,
he is very biased.
He's loyal to Notre Dame, Arkansas, and South Carolina. He is.
And Texas A&M. Didn't he coach at Texas A&M way back in the day?
Back when they were just Texas A. They picked up the M later on.
Yeah, probably. So
anyways, he is a little biased, but I kind of like him. And like I said, man, he's got great motivational
Randy,
speeches.
I think he could coach football right now. I think he could go to some school right now and coach it into a bowl game. Right now.
With an interpreter, he might be able to.
With an interpreter.
I'm just going to be honest. I don't know that. Yeah, I really do like Lou. Like I said, his motivational speeches are great, and that's why I got a soft spot in my heart for him, because he does such a great job with those. his commentary, it's hit or miss. I mean, it's, whatever.
But anyway, that's off the point. Back to back to football. So, what do you think, Randy? I guess you think Notre Dame has a chance against Alabama and Georgia.
Barkley's not playing this weekend. He's going to be out against
for USC?
Notre Dame. Yeah, Barkley's out. That's a game changer.
Oh, that's a huge game changer. This kid.
Now, they have two of the best, maybe the two best wide receivers.
Well, it's not going to matter if they can't throw the ball to him.
They might as well have me out there throwing the ball to him. So
well, at least they'd be sexy doing it.
I can't argue that. Wow, I just can't argue that. So, but I don't know. So I think they're going to be there. No matter what. So now the ball's in Alabama and Georgia's hands.
I don't think Notre Dame loses this weekend. I mean, we're sitting here talking about all these crazy scenarios, but I honestly think Notre Dame is a team of destiny this year, and they're going to the national championship. And you know what? Any given Sunday, man, if they come in with a great game plan, a month and a half of preparations and practice, they can beat Alabama or Georgia or Florida. I mean, they're going to have to play the game of their life, and everything is going to have to be so perfect. But, it could happen. So, not likely.
I feel like Bama gets by Auburn this weekend. The Georgia Tech game scares me because I'm a Georgia fan, and that's just how we are down here.
We're always scared, man. We're just so used to Georgia letting us down. So
I've got a little bit of Munson-itis. I'm thinking the worst case scenario, and I'm worried about Tech, and maybe I should be. Tech's going to go to the ACC championship because Miami did a self-suspension this week or today.
Yeah, you were telling me that in the car on the way over here.
Making them ineligible for championship and bowl play. So they took themselves out, which puts Georgia Tech into the ACC championship.
Here's a betting tip.
So now these guys have something to play for.
That's right.
And, that's kind of dangerous. So it scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
But and then I think Georgia has a chance against Alabama in the SEC championship.
I do too. I do too, man. And this is their chance because Georgia they're not considered elite. Like every year you have Florida and LSU and Alabama winning these national championships, and they're an elite program with lots of NFL talent, great coaching. And Georgia wants to be that elite team, and this is their chance. So, and if there was ever a chance, it's this year. We sat here on this show for the last 3 or 4 weeks and tried to warn everybody about Alabama. Hey, they're a little overrated. They're not as good as everyone thinks they are. They lost 8. They got 8 players in the NFL right now from last year's team. You don't replace 8 NFL players just like that. It just doesn't. That's ungodly talent. You're lucky to have 1 NFL caliber player on your team. They had 8 go in the first round or second in the draft. So they're not the same team. And so, but Georgia has really come together, and Texas A&M exploited them a little bit. But the difference between Texas A&M, Randy, and Alabama is Johnny Manziel's an athletic move around the pocket and gets outside of the pocket and bootlegs and stuff. Aaron Murray, he ain't so mobile. So
he's okay. He's not fleet of foot.
He is not Johnny Manziel. He is not going to extend a play and make something dramatic happen and let a play break down.
He's not like me. He's not nimble and cat-like, but really who he is. So, maybe just Johnny Manziel. But he'll get out, and I think he'll be fine. Yeah. I do. I
think it's going to be, if Georgia will play Alabama like they did Florida, come in and physical, man. That's what it takes to beat Alabama and LSU. Right. It is just
every time they stopped the clock in the Georgia-Florida game, man, there was a Gator laying on the ground grabbing knees, and it may be dirty play. I don't know, but
yeah. And you know what?
It works.
I wonder if Alabama, if they had a week off or didn't play LSU the week before, if they would have lost to Texas A&M. That's a beating they took down there. Although they won the game, they took a physical beating, against LSU. And so it's hard to just get back up physically and mentally after such a thing. And in Alabama, I know we're talking about 2 weeks ago now, but the point is Alabama can be had. So,
that's right. They're vulnerable. They got some weaknesses, and
this is the first year to me that in a long time there's just not one team that's like, oh my God, this team is so much better than this other team.
Well, we thought it was Alabama, but it's not.
I did.
I did. I did.
Yeah.
I said at the beginning of the year, if Alabama's on top of the perch until somebody knocks them off.
Yeah.
So, And, LSU almost should have beat them.
But that was such a bullshit game. I mean, LSU had the win all the way into a minute left. And I know Alabama scored a touchdown with a minute left in the game, but LSU beat them. But whatever, man. When all those crazy scenarios happens and LSU plays Notre Dame for the national championship, I'll be laughing. So
Beckham 442, you're out there on the web chat. You got anything you want to put in on this? You think Georgia's got a chance against Bama in 2 weeks? If you will, just let us know. Throw it up on the screen. Let's see what you got.
Yep. So, other games this weekend, Randy. The Kansas-Texas game. Okay, that's a big game, man. Texas has been playing some fine football. Kansas State lost to Baylor last week, and we talked about the Kansas State game. They have played. If you look at Kansas State's schedule, they might have the toughest schedule in football, and they have just played so many bowl teams. And for them to just continuously get up for those games, it just caught up with them, man. Just after 10 weeks of just getting up and pumped up for these big games.
Who are you talking about? Texas?
I'm talking about Kansas State.
K-State, I'm sorry.
And yeah, I'm talking about Kansas State. And so, Baylor just came out and hell, Baylor could score on anybody. So
Baylor played a complete ball game.
Baylor still has a chance to go to a bowl game because they were 4-6 going in that game. So now they're 5-6. They have one game left, and I think their one game left is against, I can't remember who it is, but it's against another bowl team. So, all right, we got a question or something Beckham typed in. Has a chance defense can stop their offense. We'll need playmakers to step up.
It's in reference to the Georgia game. Says Georgia has a chance defense can stop their offense. We'll need playmakers to step up. I agree. Malcolm Mitchell. Gosh, we got some dinged up receivers. Who's my other receivers I'm missing? Malcolm Mitchell, Tavares King. Let me see. Marlon Byrd is out.
We just need our linebacker to get up there and act like he's the first round draft pick and everything. Jarvis Jones. Sackman Jones. He needs to get jacked up for that game. So.
Our Twitter friend, by the way, Sackman Jones.
Yep, Sackman Jones, man. We hadn't heard from you in a while. He tweeted us twice and then hadn't heard from him. So
I know. I hope he's concentrating on some football. What I hope he's not.
Yeah, he said he needed some motivation. So
not too low lives from South Georgia. I hope he's worried about some football. So
that's funny. All right, Bama 49 points last week. I think their offense is on a roll. Okay, so
that might be Uncle Raj again.
Yeah, Uncle Raj. I don't think he knows what he's talking about, man. So he's
now, where's Uncle Raj from?
Uncle Raj is from Raleigh, North Carolina.
The big city.
Man, just think Hugh Hefner, 20 years younger, okay?
20 years.
Yeah, younger. This is Uncle Raj, man. He's a nut. So, Western Carolina. So,
Beckham said, Bama's playing Western Carolina. Beckham, I think we could put together 11 guys to go out there and score 49 against Western Carolina. Yeah, are they the Hilltoppers?
They are the Hilltoppers.
Oh. I thought it was the Catamounts. Who's that?
I don't know who the Catamounts are. Okay, so, man, we're about done with in a college. I mean, we've kind of beaten it to death. So, I mean, we've covered a lot of scenarios, but
they finished 5th in 1A.
That's awesome.
1-6A.
So,
that's funny.
The thing is there's just lots of football left, and you still have the conference championship games. You have rivalry weekend. There's a lot more drama going to unfold. And I'll go ahead and predict right now, out of the top 6 teams, at least 2 of them lose in the next 2 weeks. So I don't know which 2 it will be, but in the top 6, 2 more will lose in the next 2 weeks is my prediction. So it's just going to get crazier.
Beckham, who do you think is going to win the national title? Put allegiances aside, if I can talk right. And Uncle Roger, you're out there. Let me know who you think is going to win the national title also. Beckham's going Bama.
Bama's going to win it. So then they could. So like we were talking about a while ago, Randy, this is the first year that there just hasn't been a team that's so dominant. Bama has a great chance to win it. So and it's going to take all Georgia has, because I think Georgia's going to be outcoached in that game. Nick Saban, in my opinion, is a far better coach than Mark Richt. He may not be a better man.
Yeah, we talked about that.
But he is definitely a better coach, and he'll be proud to show you his 2 national championship rings to prove it. So,
You think he wears them on a necklace?
I bet he does, man. I mean, he is such a pompous guy, man. So
like in high school, you used to wear your girlfriend's class ring on your rope chain. I'm taking it back. I'm showing my age now. Good God.
Georgia will choke. So, yeah, well, you know what? Anero TV 4325, you're probably right because they choke every year. So
that's it. Beckham and Uncle Raj both take Bama.
Yep. So I think it's going to be, there's a lot more football left, so the drama will continue to unfold. And, I'm going to bring up a point about drama. You have all these reality TV shows on, like...
what, really?
Do you watch the one, the Storage Wars with Dave? Yep. No. That's a popular one. But anyway, you have all these reality shows and drama and whatnot. Man, there is no better drama than sports. You think about the drama that you have watched unfold in sports since we've been watching sports. Basketball, football, baseball. Remember Kirk Gibson's home run on the gimped up knee for the Dodgers? Tell me that wasn't one of the most dramatic, unbelievable moments of your life at the moment. I mean, Days of Our Lives or Storage Wars could never in a million years hold a light to that, okay?
See, that's not true. It's kind of like wrestling or wrestling, depending on where you're from.
Wrestling.
That's a man soap opera right there.
Hey, you know what's funny? The other day, I got on Netflix and I ordered, put in my queue, the first 3 WrestleManias. And we watched them the other night with my kids, man. By the end of the night, they were pumped up on some Hulk Hogan, man.
I bet. And then a month ago, he comes out with a sex tape, and you're like, no, don't look.
Yeah.
Don't get on the internet.
Did he really?
Yeah.
He come out with a sex tape?
Yeah, he had a... So, yeah, that's what I want to see, 85-year-old Hulk Hogan in a sex tape.
Well, it was from like 5 or 6 years ago, and it was...
Okay, 75-year-old.
And he was having sex with his best friend's wife, which his best friend was okay with.
Cool.
Dog. He
was with Lou Holtz. Lou liked it.
Oh, you're killing me, Beckham.
Oh, that is funny. So, hey, Beckham, where are you from, man, by the way, if you don't mind us asking?
I think I know who this guy is.
Oh, do you?
He's a shyster. You got to watch him. Yeah, Bubba the Love Sponge was his best friend who has a radio show down in Tampa.
Screwed Bubba the Love Sponge's wife.
Yeah, he's on...
and he thought it'd be cool to video it.
I guess
he'd want to have it for a memento, you know? Yeah. I mean, a lot of guys keep a pair of panties or the girl's shoes or something, but he's just going to say, you know what, I'm just going to damn videotape this shit so I can have it whenever I want it. I mean, Captain's Point. Okay, well, welcome. Thank you from Captain's Point.
So...
is that Captain's Point, Maine, or Captain's Point, Massachusetts? Is that somewhere near a harbor or something? So
he's kind of like the missing link was back in the day in wrestling. He's from parts unknown. So.
Parts unknown. All right, man. We have gotten way off football, so let's get on.
You throw Beckham and Uncle Raj in a chat room together. You just don't know where this thing's going to go to. Okay, you know what I mean? So.
Okay. Well, hey, Beckham, Uncle Raj, y'all have fun. Have them tell you about the cleaning lady.
Oh my. Okay. Anyways, so who you taking for the national championship? Who do you think is going to be there?
I think Notre Dame and Alabama's playing for the national championship.
Notre Dame, Alabama That's what I have to go with too. So, although in my heart I'm pulling for Georgia, I think it's going to be Alabama. Yep, I would love to see that Georgia. Well, I don't love to see the Georgia Florida. It's hard to beat most teams once. It's even harder to beat them twice in a year.
Man, that would be awesome. But hey, you know what? There's a lot of crazy football left. So let's just see how it unfolds in the next 2 weeks.
I agree.
Let's just see how it unfolds. So, but that would be, Randy, if Georgia played Florida for the national championship, that would be the biggest thing that's happened in the Southeast in so long. It would just be. It would be crazy. So,
it certainly would. So, all right, that's our wrap on college.
Let's
We're
going to roll into
the NFL, man. Pretty big weekend in the NFL.
We did good yesterday in the NFL.
Yeah, we did. I think we were undefeated in the NFL. So I think it's starting to.
No, the Denver game shafted us, man. That damn touchdown. And they reviewed it. And what really pisses me off about the Denver game is they specifically made a new rule this year. And I have seen this rule called 3 or 4 times. You have to maintain possession all the way to the ground, even if it breaks the plane in the end zone. And I've seen touchdowns called back this year on the exact same play. Not the exact same play because the catch was unbelievable. I'll give the guy that. But when he come down, the ball fell out. The line was 8.5. Denver was winning by 14. So I was lucky to bet it at 7. But it gave me a push, but really pissed me off because all the parlays I had riding on it. So, but whatever, man, bad beat. So right. We had a great weekend. We went 18-6 against the spread last weekend.
Yeah,
and did really well in the NFL, and hopefully it'll keep rolling. So,
Denver, like we said, beat the Chargers, and when are they going to have enough in San Diego, man? When are they going to get rid of Norv Turner?
You know what? It's not just Norv Turner; it's Phillip Rivers too. You know, I mean, Phillip Rivers is still above average. Don't get it wrong.
I think Phillip Rivers is working hard to get his team wins.
Maybe if he had a better coach, he would have a little better focus. Because I feel like Phillip Rivers loses focus sometimes.
I think he's trying to keep Norv around. And when he probably just needs to say, you know what, there's some decent coaches out there.
A lot of decent coaches. Hey, let's talk about for a minute the Denver Broncos.
Talk about them.
And I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there, Randy. Denver might be the best team in the NFL. And nobody has said it yet.
Maybe.
I'll be the first to say it, okay?
I'm not going to deny it, but they took a big blow yesterday. They lost Willis McGahee, their leading rusher, who's got 731 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, they still – okay. Well, let's just – Peyton Manning, you need to pass the ball more. They might even get better now that McGahee's out. So now that Manning's going to have to throw 10 extra passes a game. Randy, come on, dude. Peyton Manning is playing – the best football of his career, possibly. He is playing lights out football. So
he's the leading candidate for MVP in my book. I mean, I really do.
Denver's defense is playing really good.
Off the charts. Well, we knew going in that they were pretty good.
Niners chat room cripples Jason Campbell.
Chat room something else, man.
What do you think? I guess we didn't answer Uncle Roger's question fast enough. Tie. I think it's a scoreless tie. So we're going to get to the Monday Night Football game and what we think is going to happen at the end of the podcast. Yeah. So me and Randy both have our opinion on that. So.
Anyways, we said at the beginning of the year the defense in Denver, it was really good without having taken a snap.
I said at the beginning of the year, this is the best team Peyton Manning's ever played on, and I got a bunch of arguments of like, what do you mean this is the best team he's ever played on? He won a Super Bowl with Indianapolis, and I'm like, yeah, they sucked, and he was so good. You know, he was so good that when he left, they lost every single game, okay? Yeah. So, and now he's going to a team that's playoff ready, got a running game, good offensive line, and he is without a doubt. And I said he's got his best wide receivers he's ever had on a team in his career. And someone says, what about Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne? I was like, well, yeah, they're good. But, man, I'll tell you what, that Demaryius Thomas, he's a beast, man. That kid's like 6'5", 220 pounds and can leap out of the building, dude. So, yeah, he's got a good setup, man. Y'all are cracking us up, man.
Can't do the show for the web chat tonight, man.
We're gonna have to ignore the web chat. So, like you said, you get them two together. I mean, anyway, back to Denver. Denver might be the best team in the NFL, and nobody's talking about it yet, Randy.
Do you think they're better than the Texans?
I do, but the Texans beat Denver. That's Denver's only loss. But that was early in the year too, when the
Denver's 7-3.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh beat them.
Yeah.
Houston beat them, and I forgot who the other one was.
But they're still playing. I tell you what, come a playoff game, you don't want none of the Denver Broncos.
Oh yeah, they're gelling, man. They're coming together.
You don't want any of the Denver Broncos.
They lost Willis McGahee, but they got Ronnie Tillman, who's
Could Denver beat Baltimore in a playoff game? Yeah. Could they beat the Colts? Not the Colts, the Patriots.
I want to say yeah.
Yeah. So
I have to say yeah. I just don't see it going anywhere.
Man, how sweet! You want to know what my prediction is for the AFC Championship?
What's that?
Denver Patriots. Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady. It's going to be the game will be in. It'll be in
New England. And Tom Brady wins.
I don't know. It's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm ready right now.
I'm telling you. Remember back in the day when Brady and Manning squared off when Manning was with the Colts?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was just football just did not get any better than that.
Even back then, you could throw Phillip Rivers in the mix too. That's back when they were in their heyday, and he was a little younger, but it was always good ball. But
yeah.
Anyways, we got. Denver played well. You know, they they looked really good yesterday, and the ball game was more. It was more of a blowout than what the score indicated.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, my two big bets yesterday in the NFL, and I preached them all week long to everybody. And shame on you if you were not listening to me, because if you bet on these two games, and these were the only two games you bet on this weekend, I just want to thank you. You know, how about an email saying, "Hey, thanks, man, that was right on." But my two games all week I've been preaching was Tampa Bay over Carolina and New Orleans over Oakland.
Well, let's talk about Tampa Bay. Did you see the game?
Squeaked by that one.
Did you watch it? Did you see it?
I saw. I mean,
did you see that catch, that throw at the end of the game? Oh my God!
Well, we sat right here and said, Jason. We sat right here and said that the quarterback, Josh Freeman, is playing lights out football. So
he threw it between three guys, and there's only one person who could catch that ball, and he did. And I was sitting in my house in my chair, and I came out of it. I was like, oh, my gosh. It was funny because I said, what a catch, and I said, what a throw. And about that time, the commentator said the exact same thing I did. And my kid was sitting over there on the couch. He was like, really? You said the same thing they did. I said, my God, I said, watch it.
When you watch as much football as we do, we're usually one step ahead of those guys,
right.
man.
Yeah, that's right. So,
talking about those guys, what do you think of Chris Collinsworth on NBC Sunday Night Football?
Beckham, I want to know what you think of Chris Collinsworth, too. I'm kind of curious.
Oh, my God.
He's in Lou Holtz territory, man. He's just kind of...
He tears my nerves up, man. Chris Collinsworth, he is the master of the obvious.
He does a great job on Showtime's Inside the NFL. Beckham says he's a Gator, and I hate him, so I understand Beckham. So something happens to Collinsworth tonight, we're going to find Beckham, and we're going to ride over to Captain's Point and figure out what's going on with Beckham. So, Chris Collinsworth does a good job on Inside the NFL, but on Sunday Night Football, I'd rather listen to Lou Holtz.
Yeah, I have to honestly tune out Chris Collinsworth. He is so the master of the obvious. You know, but whatever, man. So he's worse than Bryant Gumbel or Greg Gumbel, whichever Gumbel was the NFL.
The Gumbel brothers.
One of them did NFL for a while, and I mean, he was
Greg.
Yeah, he was just he was terrible. But
Bryant Gumbel did the Today Show.
Yeah, but back to Tampa. Great game. Tampa won.
How the hell did you start talking about the Gumbel brothers and Chris Collinsworth anyway?
Because we started talking about the commentator. You said, what a great throw, what a great catch. And then your son said, and the announcer said it, and then that brought Chris Collinsworth up, and I just thought I'd go off on a tangent on Chris Collinsworth. So back in a full circle now to the Tampa game. We sat here and talked about it last week. Tampa's for real, dude. You don't want no part of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now either, come playoff time.
Old Dougie Martin, boy, he's doing the thing down there, just running the football like crazy. Josh Freeman, the receiving core down there.
Their defense is playing well.
Defense is playing pretty solid. They had a tough time against Carolina, but man, Carolina's good, but they're missing something, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I'm afraid it's going to be missing. Ron Rivera before long.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be missing that. I think he's a dead man walking for sure.
I think so. I don't think he's the guy down there.
Up there,
whatever.
Over there.
He's close, depending on where you're at. He's close, but not quite there. So, but it was a great ball game.
But you know the thing that surprises me about Tampa, Randy, is Tampa. What's so funny? Tampa Bay coach from Jersey got Soprano money behind soprano money behind. You're right about that, man. So, but
Uncle Raj said that Carolina's missing talent.
But the thing with Tampa is every game they play a playoff type caliber game. Like they go out and they're not trying to do anything fancy except for cram it down your throat and play defense. And they play playoff style football every game.
Right.
And so when they get into the playoffs, and I've already predicted Tampa makes the playoffs and wins at least one game in the playoffs this year. So I can see that coming a mile away.
You realize this ain't the NBA. Everybody can't make the playoffs and stuff, right?
Well, that's true. But
okay. I just didn't know you was making a lot of predictions. I was just checking on you.
But you know what? That looms large for this weekend. New Orleans went on the road, beat the dog mess out of Oakland as we predicted would happen. So for those of you who did not put as much money on that as possible, shame on you. So, but New Orleans, we sat here and talked last week. They're about to go on a run. They already beat Atlanta. They went to Oakland, beat them. Guess what? Atlanta's about to play them again. And I'm not so sure Atlanta is going to win.
Do you know who Tampa's got this week?
I don't.
Okay. I didn't look it up either. I'm sorry.
We got two idiots here on the computer, so maybe they can look it up. So.
Excuse me. Yeah, Tampa's on a roll. New Orleans is on a roll. They should be beating each other up again soon. I don't know when it'll be. But let's
this weekend. Atlanta and New Orleans played this weekend, don't they?
No, they played last weekend.
No.
Atlanta lost in New Orleans last weekend.
No, Atlanta lost.
Oh, Tampa plays Atlanta. Thank you, Narrow TV 9079.
And then next weekend, I think New Orleans plays Atlanta again. It's coming up. It's a Thursday.
My partner Shane. Thanks, Shane.
It's a Thursday night game. It's not this Thursday, but it's next Thursday. It's a Thursday night game. So if we have any viewers out there who wants to give us tickets to the Atlanta New Orleans game, that'd be great. So that's going to be a heck of a ball game. Atlanta struggled a little bit against Arizona this weekend.
I didn't watch a whole lot of that game. I flipped. I mean, I was juggling them all, just trying to get in and watch them as many as I could. But I didn't watch as much of that as I should have, apparently. But I know Shane's an avid Falcon. And what'd you think about the game, Shane? If you will, let us know. Oh, you went to the game, Shane. See, Shane's loaded. I got some rich friends out there, thank goodness. So,
and we didn't get an invite. We're sitting here giving him all these free picks, and he's winning all this money and taking that money and going to the games with, and he didn't feel inclined to ask us if we wanted to go. All right, I see.
It's democracy. That's how it is. You know, you get all the money, then you push your foot on your buddy's head and push him away from you because that's how you get people. That's how you get middle, upper, lower class. That's how you separate yourself on how you kick the lower man in the head. Well, so
I guess that's how that works.
It's okay, Shane. Redistribution of wealth is coming your way, buddy. So, how do we get political here? Let's get off of that. Yeah. Anyways, you paid to watch it, Shane. I'm sorry, man. It just wasn't.
Tampa. I can't wait to watch Tampa and Atlanta. That's going to be a really, really good game, Randy, because Tampa is not afraid of the Atlanta Falcons. They're going to go and try to.
I don't know that they are or not. I mean, it's kind of.
That's going to be a good game, Randy.
It's kind of like when Chicago plays Green Bay. Chicago can't beat Green Bay. They have everything to do it: coaching, physical ability, everything. They just don't know how to do it because they've been beat down by them for so long. That's how I feel about Tampa and Atlanta. So that game kind of, I don't know. I'm leaning a lot towards Atlanta. Yeah. I have to see what the line is too, because them points could mean a lot in that game. Which I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be 3 points.
I'm telling you right now, Tampa gives Atlanta all they want for 4 quarters. All they want. So
yeah, it's going to be a good game. I'm excited for them.
It'll be less. That game will be settled by less than a touchdown.
Atlanta had 6 turnovers yesterday. They did. They had like 60 yards of rushing.
How did Michael Turner work out for you? Versus who was Mike Williams from Tampa was your other guy?
They can put everybody gives Atlanta all they want. They do. They really do, man. There's a lot of people on Atlanta hard right now just because.
A lot of people think they're overrated. I don't think they're overrated. I think Atlanta is legitimately a really good ball club, but I don't know if they're elite yet.
Well, so, we're at the halfway point, so they're peaking. They're going to take some. Hey, and then back towards the end, they're going to peak again. So,
hey, Tampa, this is a big game. That's why I'm saying this is a big game. If Atlanta has to show they can win a playoff style football game, they have to go in there and line up and physically beat Tampa, run the ball, pick up their third downs, move the chains, punt them deep, play defense. This is a big game for both ball clubs. You are going to find out if Atlanta can play playoff style football because, Matt Ryan takes a lot of flack. He hasn't won a playoff game yet. So, which people should get off his damn back because Peyton Manning didn't win his first playoff game until his 7th year in the NFL. So, and that goes for you Dallas Cowboy fans out there and Tony Romo, okay?
Yeah, we'll get to them in a minute because I want to talk about them too. But, so you're liking Tampa.
I'm thinking it's going to be a good game. I'm wanting to think Atlanta is better, but I think Tampa is.
It's kind of like Georgia, man. Here's your chance, Georgia's mantra is wait till next year. And so now here is here's Atlanta's chance. This is your playoff style game. 2 teams that are rolling. You can go in here and take the bull by the horns and take control of this division, or you're going to be sitting second and third looking up at them other 2 and wondering what the hell happened.
Yeah.
So
who's New Orleans got this week?
I don't know who they have. I have looked at nothing for next week.
I don't know who New Orleans has, but it'll be an interesting game because New Orleans and Tampa are going to fight it out. So for that
San Fran.
Oh, wow. So San Fran's got a tough game tonight. So
yeah, they do.
Hey, let's talk about an individual player for a minute.
Who you want to talk about?
Justin Blackmon.
Okay.
They changed quarterbacks down there in Jacksonville. And
I'm shocked it took him this long to put. Now, Henne went in earlier in the year, Chad Henne, who had a really good day yesterday.
I thought he did well when he was in Miami, and then he finally gets a chance to start. And he, the theory, and if I was a coach and I had a player like Justin Blackmon and my team was 1-8, this is how I'd teach this kid how to play wide receiver. You run deep, and we're going to throw it every time. And until he figures out how to catch it and beat the coverage, what do you have to lose? You're 1-9, dude. Teach this kid how to play receiver in the NFL. And that's pretty much what they did yesterday for the tune of 236 yards.
See, I'm just the opposite. I think you send him across the middle to take a little bit of a beating. And once you learn how to catch those balls, you'll be wanting to get your ass downfield to get away from those licks.
Yeah, so you're right about that.
That's just my thoughts.
Talking about going across the middle and taking a lick, did you see the NFL suspended what player was it? I was watching the game when it happened. I think it was the Pittsburgh game last night. The Pittsburgh Baltimore Ravens game. Ed Reed, yeah. They suspended him for one game for that hit. And it was on ESPN today. And watching it, he couldn't held up. He was trying to deliver a hit. There was way worse hits in that game than that hit. And for him to get that one game suspension, I thought was just complete bullcrap.
I put another article out there on Twitter. It may be queued up to go tonight or in the morning, but it talks about injuries. They've put all these rules in to protect the players and stuff like that, but there's more damn injuries now than ever. I mean, I have concussions. Every little hit's a concussion, and I'm not saying it's not a big deal. I mean, it's definitely a big deal. I mean, all the way down into peewee levels, they take it very seriously, and they should. But man, when are you gonna let it be football again? You know, I mean, you're gonna take a hit every now and then. You gotta get up and bump your head a few times and go on about it, you know?
Man, let me say something, man. If you play football your entire life, from the time you're 8, 9 years old to the time you're in the NFL, you've probably had 2 or 3 concussions.
I thought that's why they had all this upfront signing money. That's the reason why, because one injury will take you out. Well, that's the risk you're taking when you sign that dotted line.
Yeah, duh. I mean, it's.
I mean, Beckham lives in Captain's Point, man. Every day he walks around, he's taking a risk. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
it's tough over there in Captain's Point, man.
I guaranteed he'd sign a $48 million contract right now, and maybe he might stay in Captain's Point, but you know, he would sign something right now to take a guarantee and take that risk. So it beats all I've ever seen. But
all right, Randy, we're running down our time here, so we gotta.
And Beckham says it ain't a Saturday if I don't get a concussion. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right, man. I want to talk about Dallas, man.
Okay.
I took Cleveland this game, and I told you last week, and you know,
I know Dallas was one of my losers. I mean, we did go 18-6 this weekend, and one of our 6 was on my side because I did take the Cowboys minus the 9 points.
I told you Cleveland's going to hang around in these games. They have the numbers don't lie. They've hung around every game they've played this year. Excuse me. So Romo, though, I mean, he had like 351 yards passing. Took his team down the field, got him in, and took him down to score to tie it up, and then took him in overtime and won.
Man, that game was such bullcrap because by the time the game started, the line was at 7.5. I bought the entire half point. I bought the entire point and got it to 6.5 and felt like I stole something, Randy. I was like, I got this game at 6.5 points. Dallas looked like crap the whole game. I expected them to get some pressure on Brandon Weed. Make a long story short, they end up scoring a touchdown and going ahead by 7 points with like 3 minutes left in the game. And Cleveland gets the ball. 3rd down and 10. They are on their 10-yard line. Bullshit penalty on the Cowboys for roughing the passer. Automatic first down. Cleveland then goes down the field and scores the game-tying touchdown. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're kidding? Well, actually, Brandon Weeden fumbled, and Dallas got it back, and then
they fumbled it back to him.
Yeah, they fumbled it back to him. So, but it was a great game, but they had a chance to cover. And God, man. But anyway, what were you going to say about Dallas?
Just saying, you know, their schedule, we looked at it, and we talked about it last week. Their schedule plays out very well for Dallas.
Yes, it does.
I don't think they need
the first 8 weeks of the season. They had the hardest schedule in the NFL. The Cowboys did. The last 8 weeks of the season, they have the easiest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah, they definitely do. And if they lose, I don't know how many of these last games they'll lose. I don't think they'll run the table. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, they got the Redskins this weekend.
And they're playing well.
Yeah, I think
they're one of them teams. They're kind of like Cleveland to me,
I'm
man.
waiting for Dallas to explode, man. They have got the talent and they have got the team to do it, and they have just yet to put a game together where they come out and a statement game and thumped somebody, kind of like the Patriots did this weekend against the Colts, or kind of like New Orleans did. I mean, when is Dallas going to thump somebody? So
it'll be next year when they have a new coach.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, really, that's what I think. I think it's Jason Garrett. And
okay, so let's say Dallas squeaks out this easy. They squeak by the season with this easy schedule, the second half, and they make a playoff spot. Then they're not going to fire Jason Garrett. Man,
they should.
But you know what? This is what Jerry Jones, he has been quoted as saying that Jason Garrett reminds him of Bill Belichick. Said that he's the smartest football guy he's ever been around. Jason Garrett.
Who said that?
Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. That's what he thinks of Jason Garrett. Maybe that's why he hadn't fired him. Maybe he sees something in him. But
when they get beat by Washington this weekend or Thursday, I won't be shocked that
Lions don't have near Cowboys talent on defense. Oh, that's that game, yeah.
But anyway, so when they lose, I can see Jerry Jones being like, you know what happened to Bill Belichick early in his career too? He got fired.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, and like we said, this is $1 billion.
He can't coach in Dallas. It's
$1 billion experiment, man. I mean,
yeah, he can't coach in Dallas.
I mean,
send him to Kansas City. They're going to need somebody soon too. So,
all right. Well, what do you want to? You want to get to the Monday Night Football game and wrap this up, or is there anything else?
I got one question about the Dallas Cleveland game. Where's Colt McCoy? Brandon Whedon's terrible, man.
He's terrible. He got him. He tied the game with a minute left and took him into overtime.
Man, I could have threw that left-handed in there.
We talked about that. I don't think Colt McCoy got a fair shake in Cleveland, and I think you'll see Colt McCoy play again in the NFL. Too much talent, and he's good trade bait for the Browns. They could. There's a lot of teams that could use a quarterback.
That's the thing. They're not getting blown out like they should. I don't know. To have that bad of quarterback play, they should be getting blown out of their games, but they're hanging around for some reason.
The big difference between Whedon and McCoy is Whedon has the arm strength. He's got the cannon arm where Colt McCoy's got a popcorn arm. Colt McCoy needs some JoJo's biscuits, too skinny. Well, he know who he can talk to about gaining some weight. Matthew Stafford, his little pudgy little butt. I guarantee you. Now, talking about pudgy, did you see Byron Leftwich last night? I mean, how many cheeseburgers?
Well, that's one thing I got in my notes, man, is talking about that game is how they got to find them another backup quarterback, and they're working at it. They're trying to find somebody.
How many cheeseburgers do you think that kid's ate since the last time he started a game in the NFL, man? Good God.
Well, he didn't expect Ben plays hurt. Big Ben plays hurt, so he's probably just going out there and shoveling it in.
Did you see him get drilled? And talking about shoveling it.
Beckham put JoJo's Loves Leftwich.
Hey, did you see the
Leftwich? It could be a sandwich named after. We need to talk to some people about that, Beckham. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We'll get Byron Leftwich down here, offer him a couple of biscuits, and it'll be good to go.
But did you see when Leftwich got nailed by the sack last night he took? Blindside sack, just got completely drilled. And when the defender, I forgot which defender it was for Baltimore who just creamed him, he gets a shovel and he's going like this. And I'm like, he's digging a grave for him. And every time they showed the highlight, they cut the highlight as soon as that showed the defender going like this because it was the shoveling motion. I'm like, he's digging a grave for his ass. I love it, dude. I was pumped up on that. So,
yeah. But, well, let's talk about tonight's game, Jack. Let's San Fran.
Wind up the show.
San Fran and the Bears.
The Bears.
We've talked about it already, but there's a little bit of an emotional thing to it, man. Dick has had a stroke the other day playing cards at.
Really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, playing cards with Charles Barkley and probably Michael Jordan would be my guess. But they
don't gamble, do they? Really? Conspiracy theory: Michael Jordan NBA suspension. I'm telling you, he was because he was gambling on basketball, and that's why he retired for 1 year and played baseball. But the commissioner could never come out and say, "We're suspending you, Michael Jordan, for gambling," because he was such a huge.
Made him so much money, didn't he?
Yeah. So, but that's my own theory. But whatever. So,
yeah. So
Maybe not.
so Ditka had a stroke.
Ditka had a stroke.
And so now there's an emotional level to the no, there's not. The Niners are going to beat Bears this week.
Well, interesting thing about this game, Randy, is both teams have a backup quarterback. The Bears are starting Jason Campbell because Cutler's out with a concussion, and the 49ers are starting Kaepernick because Alex Smith is out with a concussion. So the Bears have the number 2 scoring defense in the NFL, and the 49ers have the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. Both have great running games. This game is so evenly matched. There's just no. It's hard to pick a winner in this game, and so for me, this was my motive thought process for this game was who's got the better quarterback, who's got the better backup quarterback. You're betting on Campbell or Kaepernick. So if you think Kaepernick's the better quarterback, then bet on San Francisco. If you think Campbell is, bet on the Bears. But what do you think of Kaepernick, Randy, for the 49ers?
I like Kaepernick in this, man. He's just more athletic. I think he gives his team a better chance to win. Jason Campbell's from Auburn, so apparently that makes him a loser, according to Beckham. And
well, there you go.
He's so bad he made the trees die out there. And I forgot the name of the trees they roll over there in Auburn.
Funny reference.
Somebody that's the best thing that could happen in Auburn, though. I went over and watched a few games. Their trees die? Yeah, well, no, it's not the worst thing. I like those trees because whenever I'm in Auburn and watching a football game, after it's over with, I can always find the trees and get my way back around town and where I'm at because sometimes I don't know where I'm at when I go to them games over there. So
yeah, I understand that. I've been there and done that.
Again.
So, but back to the 49ers game and Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick, in my opinion, is a shining star in the NFL. And last year he made the highlight reel 3 or 4 times. He's already made the highlight reel another 3 or 4 times this year. This kid's got game, and he come from a really, really small school, Nevada, but did some really unbelievable things. Really was more of a running quarterback. I was surprised to see him throw the ball as well as he has in the NFL when he's got his opportunities in preseason games. I didn't think he was going to be a great.
They run out of the pistol in Nevada, and they threw the ball pretty. I mean, he would throw sometimes 400 plus yards.
He's got a better arm. I think. And I said this on the car ride over here. 49ers might be upgrading at quarterback.
They might. I mean, last year I'm thinking he was about to get the nod, and then.
He's had another year to sit on
the quarterback that hurt?
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith. He got hurt, and then he kind of he got hurt, and it kind of went. They were about to. I forgot where I was going reading Beckham's stuff.
Alex Smith got hurt.
Alex Smith. He didn't last year. Alex Smith came out and played well at the end of the season. And I could see them fixing to pull the plug on him, but they just kind of hung around.
Alex Smith is kind of taking a beating out there in San Francisco. Since he's been in San Francisco, he's had a different offensive coordinator 5 years in a row. For his first 5 years in the NFL, make a long story short, this is the first time in Alex Smith's NFL career that he's had the same offensive coordinator 2 years in a row. Don't forget, when this kid was at Utah, he was special. Everyone thought he was awesome, and he had the potential to be this awesome player in the NFL. They took the first-round pick with him, signed him to big money, but he hasn't had a chance to really show his talents because he's always learning a new offensive playbook. And Alex Smith has really, in the last year, blossomed. I mean, I think Alex Smith has really become a good quarterback. But I think Kaepernick, I can see Kaepernick as being a star in the NFL. I really.
Me too. He's got the tools to do it.
I'm anxious to see him play tonight. Maybe he lays a goose egg and goes 3 for 20 passing with 4 interceptions. But I have a funny feeling the kid's going to find his way into the highlight reel again somehow.
He'll be as good and as exciting as Jim Harbaugh lets him be. So, I mean, I think this game will come down to whoever scores the most on defense. I really do.
Yeah, I think there will be a defensive touchdown on both teams. Will score a defensive touchdown.
This could come down to special teams, a field goal or a blocked field goal, or.
So who do you give the nod in this game to?
I'm still going. I'm still going 49ers.
Me too. I think the 49ers.
I think they have a little better running game.
I think they're a little more physical.
They are probably a little more physical.
I think they're a lot more physical.
But I think that the defense is going to be obviously, man, defense has carried Chicago all year long. So
yeah, and we've said, and we've actually sat here and talked on this show and amongst ourselves, is what happens to Chicago when their defense doesn't get a scoring touchdown in a game? Is their offense capable of winning a game? I don't know yet. We're going to find out tonight. So
San Fran 6-2-1, and Chicago's 7-2. So I mean they're pretty close. They match up well, and quarterback play is going to be the difference. It may be, like I said, I don't think either one of them is going to burn up the barn, and I think the unders make a pretty good play in this.
Oh, the lowest I've seen in the NFL this year, the over-under is 34, so which is really low, and I still think it goes under that. I see this game has 17-10, 13-10.
Kaepernick can put them in position to kick a field goal. That's what I think that's going to be the difference in the game.
Well, and here's the thing. The Bears bring that defense. Kaepernick is the kind of guy that he gets outside that pocket. Man, San Francisco could really pull away in this game because when that play breaks down, Kaepernick is so creative and so elusive, he'll bust one for 40 on you or leave a wide open receiver, kind of like Michael Vick was a few years ago. I mean, Kaepernick has got some tools, man. So I'm anxious to see Colin Kaepernick tonight.
Campbell could come out and be 15 for 18, but have 3 picks.
Yeah.
And, 2 of them be pick sixes. I mean, it's just that's
I think
he can throw as many to the other team as he can.
I think Kaepernick's the more dynamic quarterback. So my edge is going with 49ers tonight. So
me too. I like the 49ers.
Well, Randy, I enjoyed doing the show, man.
Me too. Thanks everybody for coming into the web chat. We'll
thank y'all for listening, and
we'll be here next week.
Yep, get on to our website, ranjacksports.com, and check out our picks. We'll try to have them posted by Wednesday or Thursday because there's a lot of games on Thursday, 3 NFL games, so on Turkey Day, and then a lot of
there's a college game Thursday,
rivalry weekend. So we'll have some good picks, and hopefully we'll keep the ball rolling. Please tell your friends about us, man. It's a shame that we're on such a winning streak, and not more people know about us, man.
Yeah.
So I would love for more people to know about us. So we're asking our listeners to please tell as many people as they can about ranjacksports.com, man. And it's the for real deal. So I'd like to thank Donovan. Thank you, Donovan, for having our podcast, man, and appreciate it a lot. So with Anero TV. So
go to Anero Media. Look at there's a lot of other podcasts out there, and Donovan and Ben do Ben on Beer. The South Geek Ramble Review. What is it called? South Geek Rambling Review. I can't keep it all together.
Yeah.
And his wife has several on there too, and there's a lot of good things happening on there. So if sports is not your thing, which hopefully it is, go check it out. But that Ben on Beer.
That's a good show.
Beer and football.
Yeah.
Hard to go wrong there.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to. It's just they go together. Like
that's right.
Peanut butter and jelly, man.
Like Mo, Curly, and Larry.
So kind of like Uncle Roger and Beckham. So they just go together.
That's right.
So,
that's exactly right.
Hey, we enjoyed the chat tonight, and for our listeners, man, take the time and leave us some feedback on Twitter, Facebook, email, call us, whatever, man. We want your feedback and hear how we're doing and what you think. So. Is there a bourbon podcast? Not yet, but we can do that. So, all right, man. Well, let's sign off, man. We enjoyed it, and next week we'll get on here and talk about more crazy football, man.
That's right.
Enjoyed it, buddy.
This is more Rain Jack Sports. I'm Randy Meadows.
Jackie Haswell.
Keep winning. Talk to you soon.
Peace out, dog.
This has been a presentation of the Anero Media Network. Your reality distorted.